Botticelli. Go to my website, aspiritualspark.com, where you can see a list of my current offerings, and you can become part of my email community by signing up for my free email newsletter. And you can see more about my new webinar, Unleash Your Money Magnet. This is the report for Scorpio for August 2015. So let's get right into what's going on for Scorpio. A lot of the energies that are going on starting in August aren't even going to happen. The events are not actually even going to happen until September. We've got 2 eclipses in September that have about a 6-week time frame before they occur, where energy can start coming in. So in addition to the things we're going to talk about for August, just know that this eclipse energy is also starting to brew. I'll talk more about the eclipses and where they're hitting for Scorpios next month in September, but just know that you might start having news that comes out of the blue and big changes that either the whispers or the yells start in August for the time that's coming in September. So the most exciting thing on my mind for August is that Jupiter is changing signs. And I'm a Sag, so Jupiter is my ruling planet, so I get worked up with everything having to do with Jupiter. We also have Venus still in retrograde. If you haven't listened to my Venus retrograde video, then you definitely need to do that. There are so many important things you really have to know. You have to listen to it because Venus rules love and beauty and money. And when the ruler of love and beauty and money goes backwards, there are a lot of do's and a lot of don'ts. And I don't have time to address all of that in this video, so I made a separate video that covers all of that. And you can find it through Venus retrograde, doing a search for that on my YouTube channel for Annie Botticelli. Okay, so Venus is going in retrograde, all that is happening. You're going to look at that video, and then now let's talk about Jupiter. Jupiter has a 12-year orbit, so it spends about a year wherever it is, in every sign, in every house. And it has been moving through the solar 10th house of career and work and life purpose for Scorpios for the last year. Now, that statement, it has been moving through for Scorpios for the last year, is not entirely true. That would be the easy way that I could describe it, but you know I'm not going to just let it be the easy way, because that's not the way that gives you the most information. We have to drill this down a little bit to understand this transit. And just in general, understand why certain Scorpios don't experience things at the same time as other Scorpios do. Okay, so depending on if you have an early, middle, or late degree placement, you're going to have Jupiter accentuating a different house. Even if it's in the sign that rules a certain house for Scorpio, if you have a middle to later degree placement, it's going to take longer for that planet to get to the place what we're talking about than it is for the earlier one. So if you're an October born Scorpio, and if you have your birthday until around the 12th-ish of November, you're early and then middle, okay? And all of you have had Jupiter moving through your 10th house. You middle degree placements are about to wrap that up. If you are a late degree Scorpio placement, or if your birthday is like November 12th through the end of the sign, or you have a 20-ish or later degree of your Scorpio ascendant, or whatever you're watching for, your moon, then you're just now going to be having Jupiter moving to the place for career and work and life purpose that it has been for everyone, all the other Scorpios, for this whole year. So if you haven't had it happen for you yet, expansion, growth, optimism in your house of work and career and life purpose, and you are a late degree placement, then don't worry, there's a very good chance that it is coming. Okay, so the way that I can better explain this is, it reminds me of when I lived in Sedona, Arizona, and I lived down the block from 2 venues that played live music. So I could hear the live music on Saturdays from my yard. I could also hear it sometimes from inside my house. So that is like a late degree placement. So if you're a late degree Scorpio, which also, by the way, if you are a late degree Scorpio, like those guidelines that gave you November 12th and after, or around 20 degrees and after of your placement of Scorpio, definitely also listen to the Sag report in addition to the Scorpio report. And anytime I say early Sag, that is also going to give you a picture of what the story looks like for you. I highly recommend you listen to both late Scorpio, early Sag, because there's going to be pieces in there for you. So anyway, listening to that live music that was down the block where I could hear it from my house is like having a late degree placement. It's going on, you can kind of hear it in the background, you can feel it, it's near you, but it's not like being in the venue, you know, which is like the middle and early degree placements, and in the front row, which is like the early degree placements. Then you're right there, right in that moment of that event at that time. That's what it's like to have different degrees in the sign. It's just tells you where in the musical experience you are, or where in the planetary transit experience you are. It's either in the distance and kind of coming, or you're right up in it. Okay, so that hopefully can help you understand a little bit of, you know, why you feel things brewing, but the timelines are different for you than they are for the other parts of the sign. Okay, so for the late degree placements, you are just now starting a year-ish of expanding work and career and life purpose. Wherever Jupiter is, it expands everything it touches. It gives more opportunities, optimism. Like I said, it can bring in multiple, whatever it is that you're working on. So if it's work, it can be multiple streams of income. It could be multiple projects. It could be something that's added to. That's another key word we use with Jupiter as well, is the addition of something. So let's say you have a job or work or income. Then you're doing something else and it's adding a stream of income. Or, you know, it's a time to not play it small, because Jupiter is the big dog, you know, it's like big and full of hot air, right? In some cases. But anyway, it's big, and it doesn't lend itself to constriction or just staying very narrowly focused. So if you have a bunch of ideas as far as your work goes, when Jupiter is expanding that area, try them all. You know, that is how you benefit when Jupiter's involved, is you're planting seeds. You're planting seeds, because whatever you do when Jupiter is wherever it is laying a foundation for the next 12 years. So if you can't get at, like, to develop all the things you're working on in the next 12 years, if you planted the seeds in this time, then you can go back and add water to them and help them grow and sprout. And this is the story of your work for the next 12 years. It's an amazing time of fulfillment and recognition and coming to fruition. And since Venus is in retrograde, a lot of this is going to be involving things from the past, people from the past, projects from the past. If it's something like completely brand new to you, you know, you're not going to want to launch it when Venus is in retrograde, which I talk about in the video. You can listen to that for more details. But if you're doing things that you've always been doing and it's like finally coming out into the forefront now of your life, that's pretty much how it's going to look. Okay, so for you early to middle degree placements, you're starting this year, and again, it's going to be staggered. You early degree placements, it'll be a year from August-ish into the beginning of September, and then for you middle degree placements, it'll take a couple of months, and then it'll be a year from then. But this is, your expansion is coming in through the 11th house, and the 11th house rules communities, groups, humanitarian efforts, things that are team, involved with teams, things involved with large organizations, things involved with the internet and social media. Anything involving friendships or groups or acquaintances is all, and friends, is all of what is being expanded for you earlier degree placements. So if you have been waiting to get your business online or get into online things, this is your year where you can just like really catch up. If you've been kind of behind on technological things, you can really get onto the cutting edge in this period of time. It's very exciting, especially for Scorpios who are business focused, because most people are going to tremendously benefit from having an internet-based business, even if they have a storefront or a regular business, because it's really expensive to have the overhead of a storefront. And when you have an online business, you barely have any overhead, you know, depending on what it is that you're selling. But this time is a time where you can take your life into this bigger group energy. If you have been wanting to get more involved with teams or with groups or volunteer work or something like that, this is an amazing time for that, where you can really make fulfilling advances in those realms. So all of that is coming for you, and the energy might have started brewing already, because I see about a 3-month time frame as far as like an orb of energy coming. You know, we talk about like shadow periods or periods leading up to a certain point. August 11th is when Jupiter moves into Virgo, but about 3 months before then, the earlier placements would start to feel what was coming. It's like the whispers come in, you know? So all of that is going on, and then we have on August 14th, we have a new moon, and this is a new moon in Leo, and this is the first new moon that is not encumbered by planetary madness in a while. We've had several new moons that have just had things going on that are just not new moony. You know, new moons make us think of just new energy and open and clean and nice and yay. And with the previous new moons, they've just had just misfits interfering with the nice flow of the new moon, but not this new moon. This new moon has all of the shiny brightness of the fire sign that it is in, and it is just wonderful. So for you early degree placements and some of you middle degree placements, you'll experience this again now in the 10th house, a new chapter opening in work, career, new recognition, new energy coming in. Even some of you could be experiencing anything I talk about with the 10th house as far as your relationship with your father or authority figures. If you haven't had a great relationship with your dad or an authority figure or a father figure, anytime you have something positively affecting the 10th house, a new chapter can open in something involving father energy. Some people experience mother energy in their 10th house too, depending on certain factors in their chart. So it could be authority figure coming through a woman. And that, however it works, there's a chance to advance. I really am convinced the more I do inner work for myself and the more I help other people through inner work as it relates to maximizing the planetary aspects and stepping into your highest reality, the more I see that your relationship with your parents, whether they're still present on the planet or not, whether you have intellectualized forgiveness or not, your whole entire life, every aspect of it can benefit from doing more inner work on your relationship with your parents. Most people think that they have forgiven certain things in their lives, and they may have intellectually, but they haven't viscerally. If you haven't viscerally forgiven someone, and Scorpios are the most intense grudge holders, period. And again, that's not just if your sun sign is in Scorpio, that's completely true for you. The more placements you have in Scorpio, the more there is a likelihood that this can be true. That there's this energy that holds on to something for better and for worse. So the more you can do with just shedding this anger, the more your life is going to get better. And I've talked about this tool before, Ho'oponopono. It's H''Oponopono. P-O-N-O. Ho'oponopono. It's a Hawaiian prayer. It actually precedes the Hawaiian Islands from the Samoans who populated the Hawaiian Islands. That is translated as, I love you, please forgive me, or it's, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And it sounds simple and silly. And when it first came to me, when maybe almost 9 years ago, one of my astrology students at a class that I had in my town brought it to me and said, oh, I'm so excited about this. I'm like, oh, wow, this is really working for you. I'm really excited. And he presented it to me to use. And at the time, I was like feeling my empowerment through anger. And so I was like, I'm glad it's working for you. But I was thinking, like, right now, I would sooner say the F word to someone before I would say I'm sorry to them, you know, because I was feeling empowered in my anger about things. And so I probably would have saved myself a whole lot of drama if I would have embraced that tool at the time. But, you know, everything in its perfect time. It came back to me somewhat recently, and it has worked the most incredible magic in my life. I've just, like, completely flabbergasted at the kind of things that can improve when you can forgive things on a deeper level and just understand in this holographic reality that we are all responsible for everything that is coming into our reality. This is the deepest, most raw space of accountability possible. And if you can get yourself there, the gifts on the other side of that are just like mind-blowing, amazing. You can find information about this free on the internet. There's also some books about it. So anyway, things involving your family, you know, can be a focus here because this energy in the 10th house, that's why I was talking about that. Okay, so then on August 29th, we have a full moon in Pisces, and full moons are always emotional, right? And when there's a full moon in a water sign, it can be even more emotional. So save yourself some space around that full moon. It's just a nice habit to be in so that you don't have to be overscheduled when you're having a moment, you know, which full moons bring this moment all the time of just like, this, you know, release of this emotional energy that's been building up in your field all month. So this is happening in the sign that rules your 5th house, but most of you are going to experience this fullness actually in your home sector, your 4th house, of home and family and upbringing and childhood and even psychological issues that come from childhood. So fullness there, something full, something emotional, something coming to fruition, something coming to completion, something that needs attention, happening there in the 4th house. So I can't see what's going on in your personal chart, and I would like very much to. If you would like to have a personal coaching session with me, you can go to my website, aspiritualspark.com. You can also sign up for my free email newsletter and become part of my community, which I highly recommend, because every month before the coming month, I do a write-up that includes a lot of the different things that are going on, some things I don't even get to talk about in the horoscopes. You have a written version of some key points coming up. There's also other perks that you get from being part of my community. And definitely check into my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine. It has 28 days, so there's 28 videos and 28 podcasts of awesome information, of awesome energy clearing, of exercises that help you to embrace the magic in life and clear out the blocks that are interfering with your perfect flow. And definitely sign up for my new webinar. It's very exciting. It's called Unleash Your Money Magnet. And there's over 2 hours in this webinar of just power-packed action involving clearing your programs regarding money. So check it out. I hope you have a wonderful August, and I'll see you next month. Bye.